Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Now let me give you a little bit of explanation here. We've thought for a long time about this area up the end of the garage. We're broadcasting from the garage. It's a working garage, as you can see, with the cars and the smell and the whole thing. It's the real deal. But up this end we have a fireplace, which has an interesting story in itself, because when we were building this garage, I wanted a fireplace. And Pauline Hurren, who did the wonderful work here, said, I don't think we'll get that through the council. I said, oh, well, let's try. Anyway, she put it into the council, and they said, a fireplace in a garage? Anyway, there wasn't a bylaw, because nobody had ever before been stupid enough to want one. And then, so they had no option but to just say, okay, yeah, build your fireplace. That was all right. There is a bylaw now that says you can't have a fireplace in a garage. But hasn't affected us, thank God. This is the one and only. So anyway, this is a little experimental today. Welcome to the experiment as well as the garage, because we're going to do a few little things with the positioning of the camera and whatnot. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I hope you had a wonderful Australia Day weekend. Very enjoyable. Congratulations to all the recipients of an Order of Australia. A wonderful thing to get. So always remember, if you see somebody that you think should be recognised and rewarded for his or her efforts in life, the Order of Australia is a wonderful way to do it. I got Gary here and I got Pete here. Most importantly, you're here. The weather's terrible. It's a little challenging, will be for the next few days, particularly for the garden and the animals. Bloody hot. And no relief until the weekend. But when I think about it, you know, I look back over the about 50 years that I've been living here in Adelaide. It's always been pretty much the same, about 20 hot days every year. We're pretty lucky. It's dry heat, much better than humidity, much better than that. Don't forget to put some water out for the birds. Very nice and thoughtful thing to do. Put a deposit in your karma bank. Let me know if you like the new. It's not a set, because this is really my desk at the end of the garage. This is not a set. None of this is a set. It's strange. Eccentric.
You normally live in this chaos.
Yeah, well, look, it's like living in a boy's own annual. Not for everyone.
Biggles.
Anyway, don't forget the Friday show from around the dining room table. If you don't have a seat at the table, you are probably on the menu. All right? Fair warning. 0491 65 68 60. Speaking of Australia Day, the city of Maribyrnong in Victoria yesterday, or is it Maribyrnong? Anyway, it's in Victoria. Australia Day, they flew the Australian flag at half-mast. A day of mourning, they say. Invasion Day. What the crap? Australia was not invaded. It was settled, colonised. And lucky it was the Brits. It's only the activists who seek to weaponise history. Think of all the countries in the world who have been invaded. Most of them dozens and dozens of times. They get on with their present day life. We've got to allow and welcome discussion and debate, obviously. But it makes no sense to bring people into the country who don't want Australian law, and they wish to superimpose their culture and legal system, when much of this is why they left their country of origin in the first place, I imagine. For all the chest beating and politicking and Aboriginal protestation. There's nothing controversial about January the 26th for Australia Day. Very simply, it was the day that the Nationality and Citizenship Act of 1948 was passed. A landmark piece of Australian legislation, ladies and gentlemen. It created the legal status for the Australian citizen for the first time. Before this act, Australians were legally defined only as British subjects. So while January the 26th may have had a nod to 1776, the truth is, what could be more natural or normal than to make Australia Day the day that we actually became a nation? 26th of January. That ain't political. It ain't controversial. Let's not allow it to be made so. And just to show you how much Labor has changed from a good, well-meaning, worker-orientated political party to the left-wing socialist crowd that they are today. While I was digging around looking at this Citizenship Act of 48, there was a very interesting thing called populate or perish. It was introduced by the then immigration minister, one Arthur Caldwell. He went on to become opposition leader. He survived an assassination attempt, the only political assassination attempt in Australia's history, only to be kicked out by Gough Whitlam. Caldwell, with the trade union movement, was responsible for the White Australia policy, which was designed to stop cheap labour coming in and taking jobs from Australians. But this is what caught my eye with the populate or perish policy of the then Labor government of Ben Chifley. Very interesting guy, Ben Chifley. He was a train driver, steam train driver at that. His post-war immigration drive was offering citizenship, now listen to this, citizenship as an incentive for immigrants who would assimilate into Australian society. That's why it worked so well. A far cry from the mess of multiculturalism today. The Labor Party has lost its way, hijacked by intellectuals and academics. That's not to say that the Liberals haven't lost their way as well. They have. But I found it very interesting. I want to update you on my campaign. I think I can rightfully call it a campaign. I'm starting to annoy people. Good. This is the campaign to stop the slaughter of these beautiful, iconic wild horses of the Kosciuszko National Park. I'm sad to report to you from this desk in the garage here in the Court of Public Opinion, where I have my gavel. Well, what's a court without a gavel? Anyway, back to the subject at hand. I have spoken to everyone in the field of animal protection that I could think of. The RSPCA, the Royal Society for the Protection of Cruelty to Animals, Animal Protector Australia. You see them with their big advertising campaign on television where they've got the bear in the cage and they've got the monkey and they've got the elephant being forced and humiliated. You know, they want $35 a month from you. That's their campaign. There is a political party called PETA, P-E-T-A, Animal Welfare League. Lots of these people. Not one animal protection organisation wants to talk about the slaughter of the horses. I can't get them to even return my phone calls. It is appalling that organisations that are set up to protect animals do not seem to be in the least bit interested They can't say that they didn't know or they weren't told. These horses don't kill anyone. Sharks kill people. Dingoes kill people in the news recently. Snakes kill people. All this wildlife is protected. The killers, but not these historically significant, magnificent horses. It is insane, ladies and gentlemen, insane. While Jeremy Cordeaux is alive and able to broadcast and campaign and harass and lobby, I'll do what I can. But I'm running out of time. Help me if you can. I don't need money. I need you to bother people and say, do you know this is going on? Ring your local talk show host. This program goes everywhere. It's on Facebook on a Tuesday and a Thursday. If you have a contact with a talkback show or a member of parliament or something like that, help. Speaking of sharks, by the way, we got the sad news on the weekend that the young 12-year-old boy who had been bitten by a shark the week earlier had died. Now, he was jumping off rocks at the beach. The beach was Shark Beach. God, you see a sign up there, right there in front of you, with the name of the beach, Shark Beach, written right there. Would you really get in the water? I wouldn't. So sad, though. From one of my regular correspondents with regard to my comments on Islam last week, she says this, not my words, her words. She says, Islam, to the best of my recollection, not word perfect, she says, Islam is not a religion or a race. Islam is an authoritarian political doctrine which imposes itself by force. Any political doctrine that causes people to kill those who do not believe in it is not a religion. Islam is not a religion. It is a cult that glorifies death. Madeline, look, I welcome every opinion. That is your opinion. I think many would agree with you, many would disagree. 0491 on Friday around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com, 0491 65 68 60. And I'd welcome Madeline to be there too. Alex Pretty, the sad story, the intensive care nurse who was shot in the back twice, but ultimately shot about 10 times, they tell me. This is in Minneapolis by the ICE forces, ICE. This is pointing to an enormous problem for President Trump. These people, the ICE force, they're not regular police or people trained to enforce the law. I don't know, heavily armed border force people. What do you call them?
The SS.
Henchmen. I thought henchmen. Gestapo.
SS.
This is very dangerous for Trump, for Trump's presidency. The public won't accept this kind of random brutality. It is a public relations nightmare, and one that I don't believe the president can just simply tough out. I've got my dates here, all in the typewriter. And you know what I've done? Glasses. I don't have any glasses. Okay, let's see what we can do. Stupid of me. It's January the 27th. Wow. Okay. January the 27th. On this day in 1948, the first tape recorder is sold. I guess that'd be a magnetic tape recorder, wouldn't it?
Actually, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Before magnetic tape, they had a thing called a wire recorder. And when I got into radio in 1962, 2GB still had some of those old wire recorders. They'd be worth a fortune today if you could find them. 1880, Thomas Edison patents the electric incandescent lamp, which revolutionized everything, including this garage.
Indeed.
Absolutely. 1967, Ed White, American USAF, that's United States Air Force, USAF officer, test pilot, aeronautical engineer, NASA astronaut, and first American to walk in space, Gemini 4, Apollo 1, dies on board the, I remember that, the fire on board Apollo 1. A pre-launch test, it was something that went wrong with the oxygen supply. You know, with so many, the componentry in those things, amazing, and that more things don't go wrong is even more amazing. He was only 36 years old, but he gave his life for what he lived for, really. 1820, Russian Antarctic expedition led by Fabian Gottlieb discovers Antarctica. So the Russians discovered Antarctica. I never knew that. 1820. We must have known it was kind of there. Well, it took the Ruskies to do something about it.
It's down there.
Yeah. They control a fair bit of it. I think we control about 40%. Australia. Lewis Carroll, English author, Alice in Wonderland, born in England on this day in 1832. Oh, Pete Seeger. Pete?
Yes.
Pete Seeger.
Yes.
Pete Seeger, American folk singer, The Weavers, Goodnight Irene, which was written by, it's a wonderful story about it, written by Huddie Ledbetter, who was in jail for killing someone, and it was Louisiana or somewhere in the deep south, anyway, it was somewhere, and the governor of the jail gave him a pardon because he loved the song.
Perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, Goodnight Irene. Good Night, but was made a fabulous hit by the Weavers. Yeah. Goodnight Irene, I'll see you in my dreams. Pete Seeger was an activist as well as a folk singer. He helped to create the modern American folk music movement, and he died at 94. Good. That was a good life, well lived. 2014 was the year. Treaty signed banning military use of nuclear weapons in space. 1967. Good luck with that. Michael Jackson is burned during the filming of a Pepsi commercial in 1984. Maybe I don't need my glasses. So I can sort of see. I need them for reading. Donna Reed, American actress, From Here to Eternity. It's a Wonderful Life, The Donna Reed Show, born in Iowa. She died in 1986, but born this day, 1921.
She was gorgeous.
Yes, she was gorgeous. Mikhail Baryshnikov, the Russian-American ballet dancer and choreographer, American Ballet Theatre and actor, Turning Point, Sex in the City. He was in Sex in the City.
Only if you can.
I didn't know that. What would you want a ballet dancer for in Sex in the City?
Anyway. Positions, Jeremy.
Positions. Of course it is. Silly me. Mikhail Baryshnikov. He was born in 1948. Presidential candidate Bill Clinton. Oh dear. And Jennifer Flowers, I remember that name, accused each other of lying over her assertion that they had a 12-year affair. This was in 1992. I think he's accused. How would you forget? That's the insulting thing, isn't it? That really is the insulting thing. How dare you forget we were having an affair for 12 years? But he was very busy, doing presidential things. Anyway, I think I shall leave it there. Look, thank you very much for being with us here in the garage in our new set. Let me know, send me something and tell me if you think it's better if we have the bookcases, or we have the gentleman from the guards over here in his red uniform and beautiful helmet. Anyway, it's all...
Jeremy, we should do a tour of this garage for the viewers.
Tour of the
I
garage.
think we should.
Okay.
Special program.
Special program, all right.
It's better than the South Australian Museum.
Well, yes, as long as I'm included, I'm museum worthy. Anyway, thank you very much for being with us. I look forward to your company on Thursday morning. And then again, of course, on Friday, around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com. And on Thursday, I'll give you an idea who's going to be on the show the following day. Believe in yourself. Thank you, guys, for everything.
You're welcome.
Thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.